Hello YouTube, Fuzz here, welcome back to Final Fantasy IX, our Excalibur II perfect game. And this is going to be covering section D3-01, so the first part of Disc 3, if you're following along with Thomas's walkthrough. That said, we did actually cover the first part of this session in the last episode because there's no save point when you're playing on the PS4, so I had to just go a little bit further than Thomas's guide suggests. So if you're only wanting to play this section, you'll actually need to go back to my previous episode, the last 5 minutes or so, show you how to begin D3-01. So we're at the point now where we're going to be racing Hippaul, and this causes a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I've got to be honest, I was not looking forward to this in any way, shape or form. We do have to get Hippaul to level 80 for the Athlete Queen key item. Although, in my opinion, maybe I've just got better at this over the years, who knows, but I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, this game is actually easier on the modern remastered version of Final Fantasy IX than it was on the PlayStation version of Final Fantasy IX. I don't know what it is, but I didn't have to remap my keys or anything, just the standard square circle using your middle finger and index finger from the same hand and just, you know, spamming those. Well, not spamming them because you do have to do them successively. You can't just hit the buttons without actually hitting one at a time or you'll just end up tripping Vivi too many times. But that said, just using those original buttons, the original key mapping and the standard fingers, I was able to do this mini game without too much trouble at all. It should be said that this minigame is only available for a very short amount of time. So only at this particular section of the game, when you've got control of Vivi at the start of Disc 3 here, can you actually partake in this minigame. So if you don't do it now, you won't get the opportunity later to do so, unfortunately. So I do recommend trying to get that key item, especially if you're going for the perfect save file with all items on that. And the way it works is this. You race Hippaul, and you raise him by alternating between the square and circle keys on the joypad, and you just, you know, hit them as fast as you can in order to keep Vivi's speed going. And if you beat Hippaul to the finish line by a substantial margin, Hippaul will gain 5 levels. If you just beat him, Hippaul will gain 1 level, and you want Hippaul to get to level 80. So in Thomas's guide, it recommends going back to save at the steeple every few races, but you don't need to do that on the PS4 version, or the Steam version in fact, because you can literally just pop out the screen to the south and then pop back in to create a new autosave file. So then if you mess anything up in the races, you can just load your autosave, and you haven't got to lose time running to and fro from the steeple area. So in order to maximise time then, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to get Hippaul to level 40 within 8 races. So basically then, what that means is that for the first 8 races, you want him to gain 5 levels at a time. Now that shouldn't be all that challenging, to tell you the truth. So the first 8 races, Hippaul's not very quick. You should be able to outrun him. If you're struggling on this bit, you are going to struggle later on when he gets particularly nasty in terms of the speed that he goes at. So once you've got him to level 40, you'll need to get him to level 80. So from level 40 to level 60, what I recommend is, I think I was able to do that in a few races as well. It didn't take too many attempts. I did manage to get a few level 5s added onto his level, even at that point. But I recommend doing about 3 or 4 races, and then just popping back in to get your autosave done, and then just having a few minutes rest basically. A couple of other tips for you that really helped me. The music and even the visuals are very distracting. So as soon as Hippaul's mother says get ready or get set or whatever it is, you can start spamming the square circle sequentially. You can't have a full start, so don't worry about having to wait for her to say go. But then look away from the screen and, you know, have the sound off, take your headphones off, whatever the case may be. And you've probably got a wireless controller, so maybe just stand up and just relax as you're doing it. Don't even look at the screen. And with all those distractions gone, you'll be surprised at just how much easier this really is. The problem with actually watching is that Hippaul tends to get a little bit faster towards the end of the race, and it can really throw your brain off when you think you're winning, and then Hippaul starts to speed up and get closer to VV, your brain panics and tries to go even faster on the square circle button pressing, and you end up tripping and all sorts. It's best just not to look, so that you just get into your rhythm, and then after about 3 races, create a new autosave, and then just go and relax, get a drink, just relax your fingers for a bit, maybe browse the internet, do whatever it is you need to do, and then after about 5-10 minutes just come back and do some more racing. As you start to get ahead to the level 60 and level 70 mark, Hippaul is a lot quicker, and you're only going to be getting 1 level, at most 1 level at a time. It's possible even to lose the race, though that never happened to me, but it is possible. So when you're only gaining 1 level at a time, and you do need to be very fast with that button mashing, then you are probably going to want to create an autosave, maybe even every single race that you succeed in, so then if you mess the next one up, you can go ahead and reload, or whatever the case may be. So from about level 70 onwards, every time you win a race, just pop out of the screen to the south, and then pop straight back in to the screen to get that autosave should anything go wrong. A couple of other tips just in case you really are struggling, though I never had to use any of these, so I can't vouch for how well they would work. Some people have said they have a little bit more success if they remap the controller buttons from square and circle to something like L1 and R1, or L2 and R2, or whatever the case may be. And it's even possible, if you do that, to literally put the controller upside down on your desk or on a hard surface, and just rock it backwards and forwards really quickly on the shoulder buttons, and that way you don't actually have to manually push the buttons in order to get the sequence going, so you won't get VV tripping. Alternatively, I've heard this works very well on PS4 with a turbo controller. I don't have a turbo controller, so I couldn't test that, but apparently that just trivialises this completely if you do. There is, I believe, also a script similar to the jump rope script that can be used, but I, to be honest, never felt the need to use it, so I never did, so I don't know how well that works, and to be honest, I couldn't be bothered with all the network lag and everything that comes along with those types of scripts, so, you know, I was happy just to do this manually while I was able to do it, and I was, so that was absolutely fine, but it's there, there's an option there, go search for it on Google if that's the way you want to do this. It's interesting, actually, Thomas's guide lists some tips that you can use for this, and the first tip is to use both hands, and I think that means to use a finger on each hand to mash the buttons, but actually that just didn't work for me. I don't know whether it's because my brain's a bit stupid, maybe, that could be the case, but I had much better coordination using 2 fingers on one hand, which is why I use my index finger and middle finger. Now I still use 2 hands, but my other hand, my left hand, my weak hand, I used that to hold the controller in the air, because I like to do it standing up, and I literally just closed my eyes and then used my right hand to mash the buttons while I was holding the controller in the air. Because it's a, you know, a wireless controller and there's no input lag, at least nothing noticeable, I was able to just stroll around my room as I just relaxed and did it, and that's pretty much how I managed to get through the final few races, where things get a little bit tough. As you can see, Hippaul here is you know, catching up quite quickly at this point, but everything you're seeing I wasn't seeing, because I wasn't watching the screen as I recorded this. I was literally just in my own zone, and I think that's the trick to getting through this, just staying relaxed, and that way you're not going to trip VV up and everything will be fine. Now for winning, once you get him to level 80, you get the Athlete Queen, but you'll also get this trophy as well if it's the first time you've ever, you know, got Hippaul to level 80 on your PSN account. So that's always a bonus as well. The Athlete Queen, by the way, is completely useless. It's a key item, so for a perfect game you'll want it, but it doesn't do anything. So don't feel too bad if you do miss out on it, although you will of course miss out on that trophy and thus the platinum if you're eventually going to be going for that as well. Don't head back to the save point just yet. I actually went out the screen there by mistake. Instead, just speak to Marcus or Blank, and then they'll let you go down the steps here, and this will take you into the theatre that belongs to Ruby, and this will kick off quite a lengthy set of cutscenes. Okay, so we're back in control of Zidane, and that Hippaul mini game, the racing game that we've just done, is no longer available, which is why I said you needed to do it back when we just did a moment ago. There's 3 items to collect from here. 2 of those are small amounts of gil, and then the third is a flank card. We could have got these earlier on disc 1, but this was the most optimal way to get them, was to wait until this point. Head over to the screen towards the steeple. Just make your way over there. And this is when we're going to pop over and save. But before we do, we're just going to take a brief Mognet detour and read a letter from Stiltskin. So since we've just saved, this would be a good opportunity to take a break if you want to. And then just come back whenever you're ready. So once we've exited the steeple, we're going to make our way back to the theatre. Only for a brief detour because there's 1 item we can grab. Just be careful because the entrance to the theatre is right near the exit of that screen. And you'll keep coming in and out. It's really annoying if you don't pay attention. 2,680 gil. So we'll pick that up, and then we're going to head... Look, I've done what I've just said to be careful not to do. You want to head north from the square, and that'll take you to the dock area, where a cutscene will be waiting for us. And then after the cutscene, there's a couple of items we can pick up. So on either side there's an item. There's a Phoenix Pinion over here. And a bunch of gil over on this side. And just before you take the boat, just unequip everybody at this particular point in time. Just take all their gear off. Thief, you won't have any. If you've been following along with the walkthrough, of course. And now we're going to board the boat for another cutscene, taking us to the other side, where there's some more items for us to grab. And we've got 1 over on this side, just by this pillar. 1 over the far end, in the corner of the other side. And then the 3rd item is located just behind the water feature. And then there's actually 1 more item we can get, which is a missable item, so even though it's only a Phoenix Pinion, I do recommend you grab this, otherwise you've missed it. And it's located just on the right hand side inside this tower section. Okay then, so once you're happy that you've managed to loot everything that can be looted, then we're going to continue heading north, and this will take us into the castle area, where a whole bunch of cutscenes are going to commence, and we'll end up back in Trino once we get control of our characters once more. Right, so we're back in control of our party. First thing we're going to do, is just leave the tower here, Tots Tower. Now we get an ATE pop up, Memories by the Water. This is the first of 2 ATEs we're going to watch before the end of this section. And this one just involves Amaranth and the 4-armed man. So we'll get an item once we finish watching both of these. And once we've got control of Zidane again, just head down this next door here. And we're going to be making our way over to the card stadium, so you'll want to go south. And this is where the second of the 2 ATEs is going to pop up. This is City People, and this will result in us getting a Chimera armlet. Right, so after those ATEs, we're going to just speak to this guy here. This will register us for the card tournament. And we're going to have 2 battles that we need to win at this point. So once you've spoke to this guy and got through the dialogue here, you want to just head into the open door, and the NPC will blow the horn, signifying that the card battle is about to commence. Here it is, the first round, and what we're going to have to do is win the 2 out of 2 games that we're going to play at this point. So the cards I recommend using, which you should have if you've been following along with the guide, are the Tantarian cards, the Shiva cards, the Ramu card, the Nova Dragon, and the Armstrong. And I've got to be honest, I forgot how to play Tetramaster. It's completely different to the Final Fantasy VIII card game. So that's why I was a little bit rough, as you can see, playing this. But I did get there in the end. So each card has 4 stats. I'm sure you know this already. The first number on the left, if you look at the blue Tumblr type or blue book thing that's in the bottom corner, you can see 2M1, 2 of the stats. The number 2 on the left is the power of that card. The M determines what type of card it is. So in this case, I believe M is for magic, P is for physical. And the 1 and the 2, the 1 is the physical defense and the 2 is the magic defense. So once you complete your first card game, you'll get a trophy. It's hard to believe we've got this far in the game and we've only completed our first card game. So we'll go ahead here and load up the same cards, and hopefully we'll win our second game. So that's all we're going to be doing for now in terms of card games. We'll be playing the champion a little bit later on, in the not too distant future actually. So, got to win this one first though. Yay, whoop-de-doo-dah. Alright then, so once you've managed to win 2 games, you're going to want to head over to the right hand side of the screen, and we're going to make our way over to Mogric. Mogric is a Moogle. He's the one that likes to run all over the place. We can be a bit of a pain to speak to actually. And you don't need to save with him. I actually do out of habit, but there's really no need. We're about to save like in 15 seconds anyway. So do Mognet though, that's what we're here for. So he has received the letter from Kupo. And once you're happy, don't bother saving, that's just a mistake on my part. We're going to head out of Trino. And the quickest way is up here, round here, just down south. And then this will take us to the final screen where we can exit the city itself. And our next destination is going to be a detour to Dali. So for today, to finish off this session, we're just going to make our way over to the south gate. You can go ahead and put on safe travel if you want to. And that's it, we can save our game. And that brings us to the end of the session. This is quite a long one actually, possibly one of the longest sessions throughout the entire guide. So it's nice to get it out of the way. And the target time that Thomas says is possible, obviously without all the speed improvements that the PS4 and that has, is 6 hours and 57 minutes and 2 seconds by this point. And we're on 6 hours and 15 minutes and 31 seconds. So we're a good 42 minutes ahead of schedule. 41.5 minutes ahead of schedule, something like that. So I'm pretty impressed with that, but I know there's a lot of people that are following this who are beating me. So please do continue to share your times. And, you know, it's very, very impressive, I've got to say. But that's it for me for today, guys. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon. Cheers all, goodbye.